Hey, Storytelling Ron. The return of Ron after his appendicitis episode. So I think I'm back. I want to talk about mobs um, in D&D. I'm probably going to be a little slow. And anyway, so I want to talk about mobs. In the Dungeon Master's Guide, under the combat options, there's a kind of a weird little rule about how to handle mobs, and it totally just does a sort of a strange, different system. It's very simple and weird. Anyway, that's not how I like to do mobs. So the way I do a mob is, as you can see here, I create my own little minis and I do singles, and then I do mob versions of those singles. And really think of this: 3 orcs. That's what I'm showing here. 3 orcs is it's just a challenge rating up, 1 or 2 levels or whatever, right? But it's a single unit. I treat it as a single unit. Same, and I'll explain it to you right here. And I have here goblins too. I'm going to go through goblins and orcs. So I have a bunch of goblins that I do as paper minis, and their stats. And then I got elves here, and they're just groups of 3. But I'll explain kind of how I do it here. I love doing it this way. That way, I always end up having a big siege or a battle. And this one here, a lot of fun. There's ogres carrying these, cover. And then the orcs are coming up, and there's this trail here that they follow up to the fort. And then this is the opposing side. If you can see all that, is my face in the way? So this is the opposing side. There's the 2 heroes over here. The druid elves are warriors, and then this is their NPCs. I got some humans here, some Oathmaker knights, and some elves. Oh, this is the village town people helping, and then of course a awakened tree. This is a fun battle. The druid totally did an ice storm on this path right here, and the ogres all failed, like totally slipped and fell off the ledge here. No, it wasn't far, but they were laying there and they're getting shot up, and actually I was embarrassed. I had this full force coming up, and it was my daughter, and this is just me and my daughter playing. Just me and my daughter played this, and totally just embarrassed me. Thinking I was all swift with this, and she just used this ice storm or sleet storm to totally make them, just right under it, just boom. Anyway, but it was a lot of fun, and then of course, anyway. So let me get to the mob rules. I do have other. I had a Tomb of Annihilation battle at the Camp Vengeance, and the goblins and the undead, or goblins and dinosaurs, were coming. And that was a fun battle too. I don't know if I have pictures of it though. But anyway, so what I do is very simple. Here's the. Let me move my face out of the way just so you can see everything. You got to keep it simple too. Got to keep it simple, because look at all these, how many units you're going to have in a game, on both sides, and so I'll explain how I actually keep it very simple. So the armor class is the same, obviously, when you make let's say a 3 unit of orcs or goblins or elves. Then I just multiply the hit points by 3 if it's a unit of 3. I give them advantage to anything like strength tests, fear, perception, or versus charm, because you've got allies with you, so that kind of works. Then I make them vulnerable to area effect. So fireballs, the ice storm stuff, whatever. Oh, the ogres did not have that, but the orcs did in their mob group. And then they're disadvantaged to things like stealth, hiding, dexterity saves, because not everyone's reacting at the same time, so someone it's a chance to fail. So that's the basic stuff. Now, if for a mob of 3, I will give them a +1. I will not add more attacks, because there's so many you got to get through, and if you make it like 3 attacks, if you double their attacks, or it's going to be too many dice rolls. So same amount of attacks. So if an orc has 2 attacks, which these guys do, then the mob unit only has 2 attacks. Okay, but I add +1 to the attack, +1 to the damage, and +1 hit die of damage. So that's, to me, that's pretty good. Mob of 5 and mob of 7. Now I rarely use mob of 5 or mob of 7, but I used to add 1 extra skill to mob of 3, but don't do that. I'll explain it, because it's too much. But a mob of 5, I think, is a little bigger, a little more unique. That's kind of like a more challenge rating creature. So I do add an extra skill to them, and same with mob of 7, just one extra skill, and they get all this. So if a mob gets down to like half hit points, I will then lower some of these stats, like lower the +1 to attack, plus maybe go back to its normal attacks as a single unit. Maybe because it's one, if there's 3 of them and one is dead and one is half wounded, I feel like they're back to 1 as far as that goes. And mobs near death will tend to disengage and hide unless a leader is within 60 feet. So they'll, you can. I always like I will make them like flee or run off if more than half are dead or they're really down. Not even to 0, but to because if they're seeing all their comrades die around them, like, all right, I'm out of here. Okay, so if there's 5 or more in a mob, I tend to make them think of them as like a hero unit, like a bigger unit, a bigger unit. So they might get an extra skill that they use. Now, one of them for, let's say, melee attack, sneak attack. So if the mob's target has no allies within 5 feet, it gains an additional HD of damage on the last attack. See, so that gives it like, it gives it a little extra, like another, because there's 5 of them fighting you, and so one of them gets a little sneak attack. So just an extra hit die damage to one of its attacks, Intimidation. The mob will intimidate the target. So, it's kind of intimidating to see 5 guys all come at you. Even though you're a hero, you still got to save versus being intimidated. So you have to go last, or the hero or the player has to go last, and it has no reaction attacks against the mob. So kind of minor stuff. You really want, because if you're going to use mobs, it's generally in a battle or skirmish. Now you can also use mobs as individual characters in a small encounter, like a dungeon or whatever. Because the reason I use mobs is I want like let's say it's the goblins they're fighting, right? And then they go up levels. Well, you have to replace the goblins with something because the goblins are so weak now. You don't want them to encounter a bunch of goblins. So instead of 1 goblin or 10 goblins, or let's say 9 goblins, right? Because that's going to take forever. I just have three units, mobs of goblins, right? And so so it's only 3, but it feels like 9. But it's only 3 in the, these guys right here. I have 3, like maybe an archer unit and a couple of warrior units here. You see, just whatever. I'm showing you my minis. So that way you can keep with the goblin theme as they go up levels. Maybe they're fighting a goblin empire. It's got other creatures too, but you're going to encounter goblins as well. And then of course, if you do meet, go up against supervillains or whatever, you still get to have orcs or I got to do hobgoblins too. I like hobgoblins as guardians, and I'll do you can do mobs of hobgoblins, as their guards. There's 3 of them, and that's a CR 1 or 2 challenge creature. So you get what I'm trying to say. So another one here, arrows. If say a group of arrows, right, and you have a group of 5 arrows, the flurry of arrows. So the target must resist a DC 12 Wisdom or have disadvantage to their next attack or action. So when my group of mob of archers shooting at you, you have to save versus a DC 12 Wisdom, or you're being, there's just a constant flow of arrows coming at you. So that's what turns these mobs into like challenge rating 1 or 2 or 3, adversaries, as opposed to just being the old, the quarter challenge, as it is. And I just came up with these different skills, and I want to keep it simple and it flows quickly, and it kind of matches like how it makes sense. So here's a goblin archer. These are both just goblins. I just wrote them in here for my own reference. And this one's more of an archer, and this one's more of the melee. So the archer has a short bow and a small blade, and this is the regular stats. Now, if there's a group of 3, same armor class, and I lower the armor class to 13 because it doesn't have a shield. So I add +1 to the bow, short bow, and +1 hit die to the damage, and then +3 to +1 more for the thing, because it's a 3 arrows coming at you, and it's 1 shot, right? Yeah, 1 shot, just 1 shot. So I'll have like one of a couple of these hiding out in some towers, or behind, whatever, and shooting off their arrows, harassing the mid-level characters. I'm kind of slow still, kind of still getting back out of this surgery and all the antibiotics. Gangrene. I had gangrene. Yeah, I went medieval on this appendicitis. Okay, so you get that. So here, for a mob of 5, I'm going to give them plus 5 times 7 is 35 hit points, and plus 1, so it's plus 6 now, and then 3 die 6 plus 4, but one roll, and then 1 range skill. So I probably give them the flurry of arrows. So whenever they shoot at you, you have to save, otherwise you're at disadvantage to your next attack because all these arrows are coming at you. And again, then there's these, you're fighting goblins, but they're at CR1. You get the CR challenge rating 1 type of feel from these goblins that you got to deal with. And same with the Goblin Blade and Shield. So mob of 3, armor class 15, 21 hit points. CR rating half because the regular CR is a quarter here. And it just goes up like that. You just kind of keep building up, how you want to do that. And you can do that for any unit, any of these minions. And it really helps keep the theme of your adventure going on as you do it. I also have orcs here, and these are my own little berserker. Or this guy's a grabber. They have a freehand grab kind of special attack, where they can grab you and bring you down, and then get their additional attack. So these guys get 2 attacks each. So here, the mob of 3 is going to get 2, right? Axe plus 7, 2 attacks, 3 die 6 plus 4. So that's pretty tough. And I haven't done 5 with them yet because I haven't really needed to. And here's my other guy. I call them Therogs, which are iron orcs. They got the more plate mail and really a lot tougher hit point. See right here, mob of 3, 150 hit points, plus 7 shield bash. And if they knock you down, then they get an advantage to the heavy blade attack. And so anyway, that's how I do it for my mobs. I love doing it this way. You get this full-on group of let me go back to the picture. You get this full-on battle thing going on here, and it's a lot of fun. And so I hope this really helps you guys understand, what you can do. And for my little pitch here is also, these are on my Patreon if you want this document and these mobs. Minis, and I'm going to do more. I love doing these. I really hope you support me. I just love doing this kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. I love drawing these guys and then using them. And it's, like you can see here, it's very simple. The reason I do it this way is just of all the choices of handiness and convenience, and, I can throw them away or keep, you know what I mean? If I lose one, no big deal. I can print them out again. Quick and I usually have to cut these out right before the adventure because I figured out what's going to happen next, and I don't want to sit there and have to carefully craft this. I just want to quickly cut them out and put them down, and they work, and it's a lot of fun. So that's on my Patreon if you want to use it, but or you can just get the concept down where you can create your own CR challenge ratings higher leveled, and just adding a larger mob, a larger unit, and keep it and make it play it as one unit. And again, their vulnerability is area effect stuff, and and they have advantages to strength checks or versus charm and all that. But okay, so I hope this helped. I hope this so you can get a grasp of, you can make a more epic battle, but keep it manageable, and again keep those extra skills really simple and kind of manageable, so that you can quickly roll through them as you're playing this big battle. So yeah, that's my mob rules thing. Hope this helps.